Grim has returned!
He has returned. It's been a while, hasn't it? And I apologize that we did not do a podcast last week. My work schedule was kind of hectic and stuff, and so I never got.
And I wasn't feeling well, so
sometimes we need to take a week off of that and stuff. But
and there's been unfortunate problems with fires and such up there. I read.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're back now and stuff. This is for another TTBurger Burgers and Fries Game Talk with a shake. And this episode was going to be live, but had a couple problems there. But once I get the problems fixed,
there was some technical difficulties on TT's end, but
YouTube did not want to operate for TT. But next time, it will hopefully.
Yeah,
we'll try to do a live stream next time.
Yeah.
Maybe we should add a Q&A to that live stream.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think so. It'd be cool to have a Q&A. I never done a Q&A video before, so that would be awesome. And joining those of you, you guys already know who's joining today. It's Sadet The Hyperactive Princess from her home in Canada, and Grim Monolith, who's from the United States, just like me. And Grim Monolith thought of this idea here. He wanted to talk about the current consoles that mainly because of that Amico system that he told me about, and because of the new Switch announcement with the new Switch model. And
absolutely, yeah.
We were gonna wait a while before talking about the current consoles and stuff, but we feel like now.
But I think the Switch should get some special permission.
Yeah, with the announcement, I figured we might as well hit the topic now, right? Because the announcement just happened.
Yeah, it just happened.
It's all the iron's hot.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. But just that it's the right. I guess it's the time to talk about the modern consoles, and I don't have any of the current consoles up to the PS4 because I don't really feel like getting any current consoles at the moment because there's not really many games for it. There's not really changes in the graphics or anything like that. It's just pretty much a waste of money and stuff. But when it comes to me with this PS5,
you're saying that the current consoles don't have any games? Bullshit.
I mean the PS5 and stuff doesn't have many.
Okay.
PS5,
yeah.
The PS5 does play all of the PS4 games. There is that. Remember,
just in a little higher resolution.
If they patch them, the performance-wise, I mean, you can get a little better performance out of the newer consoles playing the older games. But we've hit something that's completely different with this current generation, right? Mm-hmm. With the PlayStation and the Xbox. And the difference is that these consoles are more like PCs. And why I say that is because, the 360 to the Xbox One and the PS3 to the PS4, they were not backwards compatible in any way. They were a completely different system. And the games were not transferable. You couldn't take a PS3 game and play it on a PS4. You couldn't take a 360 game and play it on an Xbox One. Well, you could later because Microsoft was big on kind of like backwards compatibility and emulation. So they did add some backwards compatibility to the Xbox One. But natively out of the package, when the systems launched, they were not backwards compatible, neither of them. And the PS4 never backwards compatible to the PS3. But now we're in a different phase of consoles, right? Now we're at the point where the PlayStation 5 can automatically out of the box play any PlayStation 4 game, and the Xbox Series X out of the box can play any any Xbox One game, and it also has some of the emulation ability to play 360 and classic Xbox games that was put into the Xbox One. So compatibility is much different now. So we're looking at more of like a PC type landscape, right?
Yeah, that is true. But just like there's not that many games for the Xbox Series X or the PS5. I mean, a lot of the games that were going to be exclusive to the PS5, they're going to actually be able to play them on the PS4. So I'd rather just stick with my PS4 with more games than get the PS5. Spend $600 just to play like Returnal and that Ratchet and Clank game, whatever. I forget the name of the Ratchet and Clank game stuff. I mean, the Ratchet and Clank game looks cool because that's a new character called Rivet in it. But
Rivet looks pretty.
Yeah.
She's a really pretty character.
I really want the hope they port that game to the PS4. That would be great if they could port it to the PS4, but I don't think
And
they-
I don't think
people
you're
are
gonna.
swing both ways.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna see. I don't think you're gonna see any backwards ports. I don't think that they're gonna do that. So
well, they're
if
doing that,
something lo-
well, they are doing that to some of their PS5 exclusives that they're putting on the PS4, like they did it with Marvel
Give me a
Spider-Man.
second.
Well, they launched at the same time. So if a game launches for the PS4 and the PS5 at the same time, then you have a version for both systems. But I don't think they're going to take a game like Returnal that only came out on the PS5. They're not going to create a PS4 version.
Yeah, like that game looks really cool,
It's
but
not
I
worth $60. I played it. I played through it. It's at 60 or $70. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it costs because some of the PS5 games are $70.
yeah.
But it's not worth the money. Wait until it goes down.
Why is it not worth the money though?
It's just not. It's an okay game. I say if you can get it for $40, it's worth it. But if you have to pay $60 or $70 for that game, there's not enough game there. It's just there's not enough to it.
Let me guess.
it's-
Let me guess. It's like other games, other space games that have been done before, like Dead Space and stuff. Am I correct?
Well, Dead Space 1 and 2 were really awesome games.
Well, I'm saying
I
like
love
it's just
Dead
that.
Space 1 too.
I mean, like Returnal is like Dead Space. Like,
Returnal is I don't know, is a smaller game in scope than Dead Space. Returnal is almost an indie game in my opinion.
yeah, it looks really.
almost an idiot.
It looks really cool, but it's like, I mean,
It is cool, but it's a short game. It's a lot of repeating. It's not a $70 game. It's
yeah.
not a $70 game.
I mean, like it's just there's not really anything on there that I want to play. I mean, like it's just that, and of course, like they.
Well, even if there was, let me ask you guys both this. Is there any place for you to even buy a PS5 or a Series X?
All sold out.
Does anyone even have them in stock? I own them. I had actually got them at launch, but I have my ways being an editor on YouTube and in the tech industry and whatnot, and so I know people that can get me things. But for people that just have to go pick them up at stores, I mean, what's your chances of getting either of the systems? Because we're still in a ship shortage.
Yeah, I know, and yeah.
I'm going to just stay happy with my Nintendo Switch, and plus, so a lot of the PlayStation games have been appearing on the Steam store, so...
Yeah,
like Horizon. That's on Steam now.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, that's an awesome game.
All the Tales of... Well, almost all the Tales of games. Well,
Tales of
almost-
Arise
well,
will be out in September.
Yep, and of course.
I
like,
cannot wait for that game!
Yep,
Yep,
and
Tales of Arise.
until your Riza 2 will be on the PS5 eventually. It's on the PS5.
No, it's already it launched on the PS5.
Yeah, it's like
Ryza, it launched on the PS5 because I have it for the PS5.
I haven't been paying attention to the PS5 because I don't have it, so it's gonna be hard for me to remember.
So so Xbox calls it smart delivery. I don't know if Sony has a name for it. They don't really. But what smart delivery is basically a game will launch for the Xbox One, and they don't. Microsoft doesn't even have different cases. So an Xbox One game and an Xbox Series X game both come in the same case. They're in the same case.
Same with PS.
By the way, I
with,
have a question.
What's up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I'm not sure if it's Xbox or PlayStation, but whichever one of you, have you fixed that issue with one of your demo games that's not working yet?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't really play.
What
demo.
game is it?
I don't remember what game it is or which system has this issue.
There were some
but
demos
one of
on the.
two,
There was some PS5
Has-
demos that weren't working.
It might have been the PS5 demos that weren't working for whatever reason.
Yeah,
Hey,
I remember the. Yeah, I remember
have you
the situation.
fixed that yet? Sony? Sony, have you fixed
I'm pretty
it?
sure that they did fix the demos they were having problems with. I'm pretty sure. I forget the exact situation you were talking about, but I do remember it from a couple weeks ago. They had released a demo for a game and it broke. I forget exactly what game it was. But yeah, I remember that.
Seriously, that
Yeah.
is a bad sign if the
Well,
demo broke.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the fault of the developer, though. I wouldn't blame Sony for that. The developer is the one that's putting the demo up there, and if there's a problem with if there's a problem with the demo or the game, that falls. I mean, Sony has quality control, but that's only on the final product, and we all know that games come out broken all the time, even though they get through Sony and Microsoft and they okay them for release, and they
Not
still
unless
come
you're
broken.
Nintendo. Nintendo's usually not that broken with their games.
Well,
Usually
except for the
broken.
eShop indie games, half those games are broken. But
Hey,
Yeah.
I actually like some of those games.
I'm not saying that there aren't some good stuff on the eShop, right? There is, but there's also so much stuff that comes out on the eShop that a lot of it's, unfortunately, it's junk. But Switch is one of my favorite systems, definitely. I wish it was a lot more powerful, which is going to kind of bring us into what I think most of what we're going to be talking about, which was the Switch announcement. But I do want to mention the whole thing about smart delivery on the newer systems, and basically Microsoft Smart Delivery is let's say you buy a game that released for the Xbox One, and you buy it, you install it, you put it on your Xbox, and then they release a Xbox Series X version of the game. You basically get the upgrade for free. So you install the game, and it upgrades the game for free. It's called Smart Delivery. The same thing happened with Ryza 2. So if you buy the PS4 version of Ryza 2, and you install it on a PS5, it will say to you when you go to play it, it says, would you like to download the patch and upgrade this to the PS5 version? And you just click yes, and then it downloads the patch and literally gets you the PS5 version of the game.
Wow.
And then you can play it at 60 frames per second in 4K.
Wow,
That's how I played the game.
That's really cool.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
There, it's almost like you're getting the game for free if you already own it.
Basically, yeah. I wish Sony did more, like really supported that heavily, and they don't. Microsoft does, and that's why I was saying that Microsoft has their own name for it. It's called Smart Delivery. And if you go buy an Xbox game and you see Smart Delivery, it'll be on the front of the case for it. And you know that that's the case, that you can get a free upgrade on the game for the Series X. Sony doesn't have the same type of program, but some of the developers that are making PS4 games and still working on the PS5 version, they will offer you the free upgrade that if you have the game installed on the PS4, when the PS5 version of the game is available, they will upgrade the game for free like they did with Ryza 2. So I was originally going to get it on the Switch because I lean towards getting things on the Switch because Nintendo is not as heavy-handed with censorship, and because Ryza is a game that some see as a little bit of a fan service-y type of series. There has been complaints of Sony in the past censoring those types of games, where Nintendo has kind of traditionally left them alone for the lifespan of the Switch. So I usually lean towards the Switch. But when I found out there was a PS5 version of it that runs at 60 frames per second locked at 4K, I was like, oh, hell no, I'm getting the PS4 version and upgrading it to the PS5.
That's actually smart.
That's how I played it.
But if there's one complaint I'm gonna have is that re-releasing games for a third time for the consoles. Like, perfect example, Grand Theft Auto 5. That's been released 3 times now, and I heard Resident Evil 4 is gonna follow that route too, being released the 4th time and stuff. Like,
Hey,
yeah,
Well,
at least Resi 4 is a good game.
true, but don't have to re-release it every single time. I mean, I still have my PS2 version of that game.
Would you rather a bad game keep getting re-released?
No,
I have it
but,
for the GameCube. I have my GameCube version of it.
no, I'd rather have that, but come on here. It's like laziness. Like, they're too lazy to make new games, they're just gonna re-release their older games stuff. Like, just, dear lord. It's
You
like,
can look at it as being lazy, or you can look at it as giving us a sucker before the big meal.
Remember what Todd Howard said about
appetizer.
Remember what Todd Howard said about Skyrim?
yeah, well, no, I don't. No, I don't. I don't have Skyrim.
When he was asked, when are you guys going to stop re-releasing Skyrim? And you know what his answer was?
What?
When you stop buying it.
Ah. See?
That is true.
That
is true.
That's what Todd the God Howard said, who now works for Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just...
He isn't wrong.
You know, that's
No.
what he said.
Because if people keep eating it up, they're going to keep releasing it because they know people will keep eating it up like candy.
Absolutely. And you had mentioned about Grand Theft Auto 5 being re-released or, put on another generation of systems. Keep in mind that Grand Theft Auto Online, which is based on the Grand Theft Auto 5 engine, is super popular. It is a huge game, even today. It's been a massive game since it came out, and it still is a massive game. Hugely popular. Go look at the amount of people that are streaming Grand Theft Auto Online on Twitch. It's a lot of people. So of course they're going to keep bringing that game onto the new systems because its fan base is so big. It would be like Blizzard not making sure that World of Warcraft will work on Windows 11 when it comes. Windows 11,
or
of
like
course.
a Nintendo releasing Ocarina of Time every other year.
or Skyward Sword, and don't forget to get your Skyward Sword HD, everyone.
I've already pre-ordered mine.
I
so-
knew you would, because I'm hoping for good things on that. We'll see what the visuals look like, but
Speaking of pre-orders, I'm really excited for my pre-order of the new Mario Party coming out.
Yay.
It looks cool.
They showed are my two favorites from
Yeah,
two of the old games.
it looks cool. I just don't really have anyone to play it with, and I know you can play it online, but I was never a huge kind of like party game or Mario Party. So speaking of the Switch and the pre-orders on the Switch, so let's get right to it.
The meat of this episode.
The meat of this episode. What about that Switch Pro? Wow! Finally announced.
My only question
Or
is,
not
does it have
Switch
a
Pro.
bigger memory?
So, the biggest disappointment ever, we were all waiting for the Switch Pro, of course. And by memory, do you mean like internal storage, or do you mean like system RAM or VRAM?
Whichever one means I can have more games.
So it does have, they did double the internal storage, but they doubled it from tiny to just a little bit bigger than tiny. So originally it was 32 gigs, and they doubled it to 64 gigs, which is still nothing.
No.
So you still you still need a micro SD card. So like my
I'll
Switch,
be honest here,
I've got a 500
something
gigs.
is better than nothing.
That is true.
True.
But I've already got a 500 gig card in my Switch. So what?
Wait, do you have a 500 gig?
Yeah, I have a 500 gig. I got two
Whoa.
cards. I got a 400 and a 500.
I only have a 64.
Holy shit. It's awesome.
I didn't know they made
Damn.
500 gig cards.
Yep, they make 400s and 500s. So originally, when I bought my Switch, I bought it with a 400, and I think the card itself, back when I got it, because it was like 2017 when I bought it, it was expensive. I think the card itself was like $120. But now the 400 gig cards are probably way cheaper than that. I can tell you. I'll look up. Let's go to Amazon.
I thought those were fakes.
No. 400 and 500 gig SD cards has been out for a long time.
Nice.
So currently a SanDisk 400 gigabyte Ultra micro SD card is $50 on Amazon. SanDisk Ultra micro SD. It's an XC1. That's what you want. It's a class 10 card. It's they're $50, and you can get 512 gigabyte ones too.
Whoa.
Grim,
Yep.
link me after.
The 512. I see a Samsung 512 gigabyte card for 190.
Link them to me.
Yeah, that's. So I mean, I know the 400 gig ones have been out for years. They've been out for years, but yeah. Anyway, that's currently. I'm using the 400 gig card, but I do have a 512 gig card as well, and I have 256 gig cards, and a 400 gig card in my Raspberry Pi. So yeah, so larger
You
SD
have a
cards have
Raspberry
been around.
Pi? You have a Raspberry Pi?
Yeah, I got tons of them. I'm a programmer.
Never had. I heard of them.
When
My buddy Raceblade
when
1812 has one. He told me all about it, but I never had one before.
I do have one. I use it to write software in Python, just for fun. But I do have one that's set up as a emulation box as well, using.
Hey, Grim?
Yep.
When you said Raspberry Pi, I thought it was like an actual Raspberry Pi.
I thought that too when I first heard of it.
Sadet's looking for dessert.
Yeah, I thought that
Why
too.
am I not? I love desserts.
I thought that too
Dessert.
when I first heard of Raspberry Pi. I thought it was actual Pi as well when I first learned about it a couple years ago.
Yeah. Raspberry Pi is a SoC chip. It's an ARM-based computer, mini computer. It's kind of a system on a chip, an SoC, and it's anyway. It's built as a development board, and it was originally designed for students.
Really?
But people use them as development boards as well because it runs Linux, a version of Linux, and it was designed around the Python programming language. So if you're looking to do Python in a Linux environment, it's a good way to do that. Although you can do that on a PC as well, because a PC can run Linux and can run Python. Of course, you can just program in Python in Windows. But people don't. Who wants Windows? Hell with Windows and Microsoft Windows 11 coming out next year. Screw them. But anyway, oh yeah, back to what we were talking about. The Switch Pro. I'm sorry, I shouldn't call it that anymore. But yeah, so it doubles the internal storage to 64, which is still really nothing, since most people have at least a 128 or a 256 gig SD card in their Switch, because those are relatively cheap. I think a 128 gig SD card is probably only like $20, right? Something like that, or maybe even cheaper, depending on where you get it. So the fact that they're going to 64, I guess I'll agree with Stet. Something is better than nothing. But why give us such a small amount? Why didn't they at least bump it to 128?
Who knows?
We're 4 years out, right? The Switch came out in 2017. I mean, we were all kind of expecting a Switch Pro, meaning we were expecting an announcement from all the leaks, from Bloomberg, from the Wall Street Journal, from all these tech journalists who kept leaking, month after month, into year after year, the fact that there's a Switch Pro and that it's faster and that it's a faster Tegra chip, because the Switch itself is a 2016 Tegra X1 tablet chip. So it's an old chip. It's slow, right? So there's much faster NVIDIA Tegras out there. And we were all expecting from these leaks this looming announcement of a new, faster Switch, because, a lot with new games coming out and the frame rate problem, some of the games that system. And what did we get? Nothing. They announced a Switch with an OLED screen, an OLED screen.
Whoa.
That's 0.5 inches bigger, with 32 gigs of internal storage added to it, and a new dock.
Wow.
That's what we got. No Switch Pro, just a brighter screen. And by the way, it's the same type of screen that was on the Vita in 2011 when the Vita came out. Because the original version of the Vita, the first version of the Vita in 2011, yes, it's a smaller screen than the new Switch is going to have. But it was an OLED screen. So Nintendo in 2021 is giving us the same type of screen on their portable device that literally Sony released in 2011 on their portable. So it's nothing new.
Well, at the very least, it means that there's going to be more Switches on the market.
Looks like
That's true.
People are still going to gobble that up, especially people that's been trying to get a Switch but been unlucky getting like a Switch instead of a Switch Lite.
Well, the Nintendo. I don't know if you remember a couple months ago, Nintendo out of nowhere basically dumped a ton of inventory on the market. So if you go into like a Walmart around here, they are stocked with Switches. Like, and I'm talking about just the regular base Switch V2 that's been out for the last 2 years, which is essentially the same as the launch Switch from 2017. There's just been a ton of Switches all over the place. And I think one of the reasons for that is that the chip that the Switch uses is old. So it could be a couple scenarios here. No one needs them, so there's no shortage on those. So it's not like trying to get the chips for the PS5 or the Series X or the new graphics cards from NVIDIA, because those are all using brand new chips. So those have to be manufactured, and there's a huge shortage around being able to manufacture that. But
and yet
the
Nintendo
Switch
still
itself,
managed to get away with things and still able
to
produce some really good games.
on old hardware. Absolutely, I totally agree with you. They're producing great games on old hardware. But that's probably why we didn't get a Switch Pro, because for Nintendo to release a Switch Pro, I think they saw the same problem that Sony and Microsoft are facing right now, and NVIDIA. And keep in mind who built the innards of the Switch, right? The same company that can't even get their graphics cards on the market. Switch is a NVIDIA machine. And over the last 6 months, actually 8 months now, since the NVIDIA RTX 30 series cards launched back in September, October, November of last year, no one can get them. Even to this day, we're talking more than 6 months later, we're talking the summer of the following year, you still have a hell of a time getting your hands on a new RTX NVIDIA graphics card. Mm-hmm. And NVIDIA is the company that manufactures the SoC, the system on a chip, that is the Switch. So if Nintendo wanted to use a faster chip for a Switch Pro, they would have had to have gone to NVIDIA and said, we need a Tegra X3 chip for a Switch Pro. And then NVIDIA would have said to them, well, we can only give you 500,000 of them, something like that. So Nintendo would have been facing the same problem that Sony and PlayStation and just NVIDIA have in general, which is a chip shortage. But it seems...
And plus, in a way, Sony and Xbox are competing with each other for said chips.
Right. They're competing with each other to get those chips manufactured, because literally the PS5 and the Xbox are using almost exactly the same technology. They are basically the same motherboard. They are the same graphics card. They are the same CPU. Both the PS5 and the Xbox were both built by AMD. AMD Zen 2 RDNA architecture runs both of those systems. So they have to get those chips manufactured by AMD. So, they're fighting over basically the same chips because both the systems are so similar. So that's a great point.
Nintendo pretty much played it smart, as stated earlier.
Yeah, they decided we're just going to stick to using this, this 5-6-year-old chip that we have an abundance of, and we don't have to worry about fighting to get units of these to be able to build a Switch Pro. I think originally, if you go back a year and a half ago or even 2 years ago, I think Nintendo did have every intention of releasing an updated Switch, a faster Switch. That was before before the chip shortages. And before the chip they were going to do it. But when that happened and COVID happened and everything happened, they just decided, let's take the screen we were going to use, let's take the dock we were going to use for the Pro, and let's just throw the old Switch into it and just put that on the market. And because we don't want to have to fight. ta-da, you get the Switch OLED version, which you have to admit, if you use your Switch in the dock mode most of the time, it gives you no advantage. There's nothing that the Switch OLED version does that the Switch from 2017 doesn't do. They do exactly the same thing, you're keeping it in dock mode. The only time that the new Switch, the Switch OLED that's coming out, does something extra for you is if you use it in handheld mode a lot, which I don't. 95% of the time, I use my Switch in my dock. So the Switch OLED gives me no advantage. It doesn't do anything for me. So essentially, I don't need one.
The only time I take my Switch out of the dock is if I want to play my game in my bed, but I want to lay on the opposite side, facing away from the TV.
Yeah, so there you go. So sometimes you take it out, but let me ask you, is the amount of time that you use your Switch out of the dock worth another $350 USD?
No. Probably because I like the size of the screen on this one.
Right, and the new one is what it's 0.5 inches bigger, which isn't that much bigger. You know, the actual dimensions of the Switch OLED is the same, except that, you know how like on your Switch there's a little bit of a bezel, so the screen is not the entire size of the tablet? The new one, the OLED version of the Switch, it's about the same size tablet, but now it's just the whole thing. There's no bezel. And I think that the Switch OLED in Canadian dollars, by the way, is probably about $450 Canadian.
Well, if I'm remembering correctly, the Nintendo Switch, when it first came out, was like about $500 up here.
Was it? So, yeah, I don't know what they're looking at for but 350, because it's 349 USD will be what the Switch OLED costs down here. If you just do a straight conversion, that's about $440 Canadian. So I don't know. Maybe they just decided to apply. It's going to be more money up there.
Probably, yeah.
You know.
Who knows?
Yeah. But that's my question. Like, is it worth? I guess from what you're saying it's not worth the extra money to buy a new system, since you are getting zero performance enhancements out of the Switch OLED. All you'd be getting is a prettier screen. And by the way, a screen that Sony used back in 2011. I like to keep bringing that up because I have two Vitas. I have an original Vita from 2011, which is a little fatter, which has the OLED on it, and then I have a Vita version 2, which is thinner, and it has the LCD screen on it. And I think even the Vita version 2 with the LCD screen looks great. I think it's a great little system. So I didn't even really care about losing the OLED screen on the version. But the original Vita, the first one that came out, which is a little fatter than the version 2, did have an OLED. And that was back in 2011. And in 2021, Nintendo's like, hey everyone, here's an OLED version of the Switch.
Check it out, everybody.
Thanks. Do we get a performance boost? No!
We didn't really need it, but...
Yeah, exactly. Did we need it? Did we need it at all, right? That's a great question. I mean, do you think we needed it? I don't.
Not really.
I think it's a dumb upgrade. But, you know, thinking about it in kind of like business sense, business-wise, right? Nintendo just wants to make it look like they're putting new SKUs on the market, right? Because as you were saying earlier, what does it do for us? Well, it makes it so that the Switch keeps moving, that Nintendo keeps selling units, and that means we're going to get more games for the Switch, and the Switch becomes more popular, right? But, and that's all true, and I totally agree with that. And I think that's the way Nintendo's looking at it. They're saying, you know, we need a new SKU on the market. We need to keep making it look, we need to keep the optics.
Making it to look new?
yeah, we need to make it look like we keep putting out new hardware, even though this isn't new hardware. It's the same hardware from 2017, just in a little better screen and a new dock. And that's what they're doing. So, probably in their investment meetings, their board meetings, they were like, we need to get a new SKU out there because we need to refresh them. Well, we are facing chip shortages. Well, let's just throw the system out with this new screen and we'll call it a new system. We can't call it the Switch Pro because it's not a faster system, but OLED because it's got an OLED screen. But so it kind of, they're looking at it
like
in a way.
naming your cat Meow.
It is. It's true. My cat goes meow. Or wait. Or what's your cat's name? Cat. So what's your cat's name? Cat. What? You named him Cat.
Catherine the cat. Maybe Catherine the cat or something.
Because he's a cat. That's what it's like. It's like, wow, that's a great Switch. What does it have new on it? It's got an OLED screen. Oh, what do they call it? The Switch OLED. It's the same thing as saying I named my cat, right? Not very creative of Nintendo, but not much of an upgrade either. I might buy it just to have a fancy new Switch. I don't know, but is it worth $350? No, it's not. Come on, let's be honest with ourselves. And is it a disappointment? Because look, the Switch is using old hardware. I mean, it was not even new hardware when it came out in 2017, and we're 4 years past that. The Switch has a lot of performance problems. How are they going to continue to deal with that into the future? I don't know. But let me throw this at you guys.
They're probably just going to wait out till the issues resolved.
I think what Nintendo might do is they figure with the chip shortages and everything going on in the market and the fact that the Switch is already 4 years old, why even do a refresh on the hardware? Put this new SKU out there to refresh the line for a year, maybe 2 years, and then just release the Switch 2, a complete and utter upgrade to a next generation system. Mm-hmm. And I hope that's what their plan is. I hope, we're not going to be staring at the same Switch for the next 5 years from now, because that would be crazy. The thing would be so old by then. Oh my god.
And to think it'd be that powerful still 5 6 years ago, that would be amazing, definitely.
I mean, in 5 years, look, iPhone 12s are faster than a Switch. So I don't know.
Well, if you think about it, look how long the PlayStation Station 1 lasted till. Like the PlayStation 1 lasted from 1993 to like 2000, to like late 2000, like around 2003. Like if they can do that with the PlayStation,
I believe the PlayStation 2 was the longest lasting system, though.
From 2001 to like 2009, probably. I don't remember, but could have been.
Well, the Wii. The original Wii was manufactured till 2016. So the original Wii. The original Wii went from what, 06 was it when it came out? It came out in 2006.
Yeah, around 2006, around holiday time.
Yeah. So and they stopped manufacturing them in 2016. So it was physically manufactured for a decade.
By the way, I got a question for you two.
Who?
How many Switch games do you have?
Oh, I don't know. I have
0.
I have bins of them.
0, but my brother has a Switch, but I don't own a Switch, so I don't have any.
No.
What's wrong with the Switch, Tony? What don't you like about the Switch?
Nothing. I just don't own one. I never said I didn't like it. I just don't own one.
No, I think you don't like it.
Very funny.
I said hatred towards I feel hatred in your
his
voice.
Mouth.
Very funny.
Words in his mouth, Wim.
Very funny.
I feel anger. It's I'm not putting any words in his mouth. I feel anger coming off his voice when he says. It's like, you know what it sounds.
Wim is angry.
It is envy. It sounds like his brother got a Switch and loved that Switch and coveted that Switch, and he had friends over and Switch parties, and Tony was never invited, and he was told, go sit in your room, Tony. Leave me and my friends alone. So Tony hated that Switch. He wanted to smash that Switch. Is that what happened, Tony?
No, not
By
at
the way,
all.
guys,
I just never owned
this
one.
is not true.
Yeah, it's not true, people.
What Grim said is not true.
Yep,
He's just being a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
A really poor comedian.
I think it was funny. I think it was
Understandable. Yeah, you just wanted to be funny. It's all good.
Anyways, I have over 30 Switch games.
Oh, nice.
I probably have at least that. Maybe. Some of them might have gotten thrown away.
Like 32 physical copies. And in terms of digital on the Switch, give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple digital Switch games too. I tend to really like to buy physical stuff, but there was a couple things I think that were only available as digital. My copy of Demon Souls for my PS5 is digital. I think that's the only PS5 digital game that I own, though.
I have about 12 games in terms of buying it online on the Switch.
That's not bad.
So
That's
I have like over a total of 40 games if you count all the games together.
Oh, sweet. Like, which one's your
yeah,
favorite?
that's a good amount.
Which one's your favorite?
You can only pick one. Only pick one.
Why would you ask me that question? That's just like asking who's your favorite child.
Or who's your favorite? Or who's your favorite pet?
Mother what baby's their favorite.
It's like if someone has 6 cats and they love those cats, and you're like, which is your favorite cat? Tony, how could you do that?
I just
you never ask a mother that sort of thing. You never ask.
Yeah, like, just that, I don't know. I mean, when it comes to Nintendo consoles, the GameCube will still be my favorite
Tony,
one.
Let me ask you this. Why are you so mean, Tony? No. When do you plan to get a PlayStation 5, Tony? 2 years? 3 years? Never?
I don't have an answer to that. I don't know when I'll get one. I may get one, I may not. I don't have the answer to that. I mean, just one.
I'll just mark that on the calendar next to never.
That could change. I didn't think we'd get an Xbox, and we got an Xbox, an original
Hey,
Xbox.
I said next to never. I never said I put it on never.
Exactly. So now who's putting words in whose mouth, Tony?
Yeah.
Tony, it's been said here, Tony TTBurger will most likely, not completely unlikely, but most likely, never get a PS5.
That is unless they make good games for it, so that. If Marvel Spider-Man 2 it only has a PS5 release, then yeah, I'll probably get that then. But, I can't say for sure, because, I just can't.
Only reason why I'm keeping my PS4 is because there's pretty much just one game I want to keep playing on my PS4.
Which is what?
Because it has not been ported to any other systems yet.
Until your recent one?
No.
Remember, the PS5 will play all PS4 games, so you could get a PS5 and still play that game.
The thing is, like I should mention, I'm not the biggest fan of backwards compatibility because the backwards compatibility can have problems. Like the PS2 had backwards compatibility problems with the PS1 games. Like, perfect example, Resident Evil 2 had problems with playing backwards compatibility in the PS1. I can tell you this. Like,
and you guys jumped before I could answer what game.
Then, well, sorry, so let me...
Tell us what game.
Let me just finish my story here, then you can tell your game here. But, like,
okay.
There was, like, a problem in the opening cutscene where it says the case was apparently closed thanks to the efforts of Stars members of Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine. The part where it says the Raccoon City Police Department Special Stars members, you know how they have the little star logo zooming out like that?
Yep.
Well, the Stars logo moves faster in that cutscene, so sometimes because of that, the second dot line... What?
I can explain to you what the difference in backwards compatibility between the PS1, the PS2, and the PS4 and the PS5 is, but why don't you finish, and then we'll let Sadet tell us what game, and then I will explain the difference in the compatibility. between the different generations of systems.
But yeah, because like the Stars logo in that one still image moved faster when the guy was saying Direct Route City Police Department Special Stars members immediately began the investigation referred to the video. And then like sometimes the next line would like cut in so that because it was going a little too fast, that like the line would cut off or be like meeting behind the YouTube video. The case was apparently closed thanks to the episode Stars members Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine. Or we just wouldn't play at all, just had the music playing. And then like I tried it in when I used my PS1, like that never happened. So that's just the thing that sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. But now tell your story.
Well,
She was going to tell us the game. Oh, the PS4.
Well, the game or whatever.
yeah, the only game I play on the PS4 nowadays is Digimon World Next Order.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Digimon. I forgot about that.
How could you
Yeah, the
forget
Digimon games are pretty cool.
They are.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. But yeah, that game would work.
That game has not been ported to any other system yet.
That's
I
true.
said yet because you never know.
Yeah,
But that game would work on the PS5.
In fact, there was one game that I forgot to mention that would be worth it on the PS5, and that is that like new Neptunia game, which is a remake of the original Neptunia game, but just that now.
Oh, Tony, you and your Neptunia games. Oh, no, I'm just...
Yeah, because like we never got a version in the West of Neptunia Rebirth on the the Vita version of Neptunia Rebirth on the PS4, which is only in Japan, so that's nice there. But just that, the thing is like the question thing is like even though I do want it, the thing is I probably wouldn't play it as much as the original because it just that when you hear about that, but like I just probably wanted to just see the cutscene where Neptune meets Nepgear. That's probably the only reason why it's kind of not worth it in the end. So yeah.
I understand.
And also check out Greenheart's assets.
What assets?
Boing.
Oh.
Edit her assets.
I get it. Haha.
Nudge, nudge, nudge. Nudge, nudge, nudge.
You want to see the boing in HD.
Exactly. 1080p to 4K.
Actually, 4K.
We also sometimes call it jiggle physics.
I just like to say boing because it sounds
Ba-boing.
funny.
It does. Ba-boing. Jiggle physics. Tony, quickly I can run down. So the PS1 was the PS2 was backwards to the PS1, and then the PS3, the release launch version of it, which was compatible with PS2, PS1 games. The reason why you don't have 100% backwards compatibility on that stuff is, simply put, they're using different versions of the CPUs from those previous systems. So the PS2 actually had a PS1 inside of it. That's why it was backwards compatible. The launch version of the PS3 actually had a PS2 and a PS1 inside of it. And then the second generation, I'll call it the second generation of the PS3 launch, the FAT model, used software emulation to emulate the older systems, which was even less compatible. In the PS2, so the FAT PS2 was actually had a higher compatibility rate with PS1 games than the Slim PS2, because the Slim PS2 used a different version of the chip that was in the PS1 than even the FAT PS2 used. So that's how they did backwards compatibility, basically by those two methods, by either including the CPU from the original system, or having software emulation. Now, the difference between the PS4 and the PS5 is they don't need to do either of them. Because the PS5 and the PS4 are more like a computer. They are both AMD x86 architecture, meaning they are both chips that use the same instruction set. The PS4 uses an AMD Jaguar CPU, and the PS5 is Ryzen technology, RDNA 2. But the Ryzen chip that's in the PS5 is essentially just a newer version of the chip that's in the PS4, the Jaguar chip that's in the PS4. So that's like, it's the same thing in a PC. So I'll use Intel as an example. So you have the i7 chip, right? So let's say you have one person that has a 7th gen i7 and another person who has a 10th gen i7, right? Those chips are different generations of of a chip that does a similar thing, and they're completely compatible. They innately run the same software. So that is why the PS5 is backwards compatible to the PS4 and the Series X is backwards compatible to the PS1, because they're just running off of a CPU that is just a newer version of the older. It's not an entirely, it's not a completely brand new system. It's not like the PS3 or the PS4, which used completely different technology. The PS3 and the PS3 used an IBM cell-based CPU, not an x86 processor, which is what went into the PS4 and then into the PS5. So the PS5 and the PS4 are compatible, just like an Intel i7 8th gen is compatible to an Intel i7 9th gen. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why. So in a sense, it's not even compatibility. PS5s run PS4s because they are PS4. They're just a super fast PS4. That's essentially what a PS5 is. The Xbox Series X is just a much, much faster, more advanced version of the Xbox One. They're essentially very similar technologies, just, a more advanced version of that technology, where the PS3 was a completely different system from the PS4. So there is essentially almost no backwards compatibility issues that exists from the PS5 to the PS4. There could be small things that maybe make a game not run. Like, for example, the PS5, the game is run off an SSD, and there could be something in a PS4 game that makes it so that without a patch, it can't run off an SSD. So therefore, it can't run on the PS5 because you can't install it on an SSD. It needs to be installed on an HD hard drive instead. And because PlayStation 5s use SSDs and not HDDs, maybe that particular game won't function on the PS5. But it won't work because of the difference in the processors. That's not the difference between them, basically. So there is a difference in the backwards compatibility of a PS1 to a PS2 to a PS3. They are all different technology. They are different chips. They are not newer versions of the same chip. They are completely new systems, where the PS4 and the PS5 are like related. They are just, PS5 is just a brand new version of the same technology that's in the PS4. Same with the Xbox.
PS4 looking at PS5. Hey, little sister, you can have all of my used clothing.
Exactly. You're getting my hand-me-downs, PS4, except you can't play my game because I'm too fast for you. Sadet, do you have a plan to get on top of any of these new systems? Like, are you going to get a PS5 in a year or 2 years or something like that?
Nah. Unless it has an exclusive that actually has my interest, nah.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, they're expensive. Yeah, $499 USD. I don't even know what they are in Canada.
And the
probably over $650, right?
And
for those systems.
And the fact that the games have gone up in price from $60 to $70, which is kind of a rip-off there, but
sometimes $80 up here.
Yeah, I heard, and just because I have a friend who lives in Canada, And you know, like I heard that, and it's like just
You have another friend that lives in Canada besides me?
I have I have
Feel
I have
betrayed.
I have
TT has friends.
You're
I
one
have I have
Canadian
friend I have a few friends who live in Canada on Skype and Discord and all that stuff. So yeah, like they told me
I'm
about.
just
I
messing
know
with
you are. I
TT.
know you are. I know you are. And like
By the way, PS5 games in Canada are $90.
I heard that like a copy of that call of one of the Call of Duty games was $90. So it's just that
Yeah.
$70 in the States is like that's one of the reasons why I don't want to get an next-gen console. What's the point of, I mean, $60 was already expensive, but 70, no thanks.
I hear you. And that's what I was saying about Returnal. You know, we kind of started off talking about Returnal, and Returnal, which launched at $70, is not worth $70.
Oh, I
Like,
believe, I
yeah,
believe
it's
it.
not. It's not.
No.
And I'm not saying the Returnal's a bad game, but
May I be
Well,
honest here?
sure, be brutally.
When I hear that name Returnal, it makes me think it should be the name of a retail store or some sort of rental store that has a very strict return policy.
I have to ask, if you ran the Returnal rental store, what would you do if someone didn't return something?
Jail time.
Yes!
Doing
I love
the
it.
game.
Believe it's like the horror stories you hear about, you know, people getting arrested for not returning a library book. Like I've never known that I've never known of an actual case, but I've seen it in the movies. Like they have a movie where someone gets arrested. You didn't return your library book. You're going to jail.
That's true.
And the thing is, with Sadet's Returnal rental service, the jail will be in the basement of the Returnal headquarters. Where you'll be forced to work off your late fees.
No,
You're
there is
massive
no
late
such
fee.
thing as a Returnal store. At least not yet.
At least not yet. We're working on it, everyone. We're working on it. And we
Or
implore you
are we?
we implore you to rent everything.
Just please return it on the appropriate day.
And if you don't, we'll just leave it at that.
And if you don't return said game, and I am referring to the game, not just the box alone, you idiots.
Oh man, I wonder how many times that happened to Blockbuster. Where people would just drop the box, and then, you know, it's not in there. And then they'd call back, you didn't actually return the game. Yes, I did. You called me a liar? Sir, I'm calling you a liar.
Yeah.
I'm coming
Like-
down there.
I'll be
Gonna get
honest
ya.
here. I'll be honest here. That actually happened to me when I rented a game one time. They didn't check if the game was in the box.
Oh, what?
Did you, so you dropped it off and you didn't put it in and you forgot, or?
No.
Oh, you
I
rented it and it
rented.
wasn't in there. Okay, well, that sucked.
That does
God.
suck, yeah.
And I've had a moment where I've rented a game and the game didn't work because it was so damaged.
Wow.
That happened to me one time too. In fact, like we're kind of going off topic here about damaged games. But I can tell you a story here that I may have told you. I don't remember. I remember like when I got when I ordered Mortal Kombat 4 on GameStop. Well, GameStop. Well, much like my mom ordered because I made the honorable. I wanted you got a gift for making the honorable, and I wanted Mortal Kombat 4 because I was getting into Mortal Kombat and all that stuff more and more. But I remember like when I got the game, it was in the worst condition I ever saw a game. I can tell you all the horror details if you guys want to be prepared, but I'll tell you anyway.
Where did you get it from?
It was GameStop Online. That's
Okay.
And first off, the game came in the envelope, and I knew from the bat was a problem. No manual for one. The case was all dirty. The top of the disc had these scratches on, like cat scratches. There was a sticker on it that was like from residue, and the bottom of the disc was all foggy. No matter how many times we cleaned the game, it didn't work. It mainly happened in the cutscenes where they like get stuck forever and stuff like in the like it ran a little bit better on the PS2 and it ran a little worse in the PS2 depending on the ending scenes and all that stuff. And like it ran like crap. There was no way to fix that thing, and it's just that we tried for a week to clean it and nothing worked. We tried everything. Like that game was just damaged beyond repair. But then,
But you know what, guys?
wait. Let me finish. But then,
sorry.
but that's okay. But then, I had the idea of going to Blockbuster to see if we can swap the discs or something like that, because, there'd be an option. But we found something better in the end. We went to a GameStop store and found the game in complete edition with the manual, and it ran 10 times better. So, ever since then, I have not ordered the game from GameStop online ever since. I have not done it ever since.
I would never order anything used from GameStop online. It's always a roll of the dice.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's a roll of the
I
dice.
mean, the first time when I got Duke Nukem Land of the Babes, it was fine, just a little tiny scratch, and that was it. But still, I just couldn't believe that, that someone actually. How would someone take care of a game like that? How could they do that? I don't know.
Well, I had ordered. I had went on GameStop's website, and this was a couple months ago before Resident Evil 8 came out because I wanted to replay Resident Evil 7. So I had went and saw that they had physical copies of the Resident Evil 7 edition with the DLC on it in stores that are near me. So I clicked in-store pickup. It didn't tell me that they were still carrying games that didn't have the original case or manual, there's no manuals. I mean, so I don't know why I was looking for a manual, but there's no manuals, but didn't have the original case. So I was expecting, I'm getting a physical copy, I want the manual. I'm not the manual, I want the original case, or I would have just bought it as, out of one of, off Steam or something, or off PSN or something like that, right? But I wanted a physical copy, so that's why I did it. So I get to the store, and the guy takes it out of the... I'm like, what is that? He's like, well, that's the game. I'm like, you guys still have physical games not in the original boxes? He's like, well, this game's from 2015. I'm like, no, it's not. It's the version of the game, like the Game of the Year edition. I forget what it was called, or the Gold edition, whatever Resident Evil 7 with the DLC was called. I'm like, dude, that's the version of the game from 2018. So no, it's not from 2015. And why are you still carrying games without the original boxes? Why would you even take this? I got so pissed because I had to drive to the mall, go in. They didn't, I didn't want it. I'm like, give me my money back. This is, I was just pissed off. I thought that GameStop stopped doing that. Someone had told me that GameStop stopped taking back physical games without the original boxes or physical games that had scratches on it. And I guess that's not true. I guess you can still walk in and sell them a disc, and I don't think they should be doing that. If you don't have the original case, then I don't think GameStop should be buying it. So after that, I just decided I'm not going to get anything from GameStop anymore. I'm just going to pre-order my stuff off Amazon, and that's kind of what I've done. So that's kind of my only... I haven't rented any games in so many years that... I think the last time I rented a game was long before Blockbuster even closed. I stopped going to Blockbuster. So probably the last time I probably rented anything was probably back in the early 2000s. So
Same with
and
me.
Blockbuster was around years and years even after that before they closed down. So I just stopped going and stopped renting stuff. I didn't rent anything anymore. I get all my movies online anyway, so I didn't need to rent movies anymore.
And rental places are extinct now since there's no need for them anymore.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. In the time that I had stopped going, they all disappeared. There's no... there was actually a rental place in my town down the street only up until 2 years ago it survived. To about 2 years ago, and then it finally closed down. But
There's
that outlived the Blockbuster.
There's still a couple of rental places in Canada, specifically in British Columbia, called Willow Video. They still rent video games.
Are they a chain?
I think they are. Yeah, they're a little chain.
Yeah, I bet you if you start, kind of looking online on Google, you'll probably find that there's a couple chains here and there in certain areas of the United States as well. There's none around me, but I bet you that there's probably mom and pop stores around. But I don't use them. Yeah, I don't use them. That's cool that there's some up in Canada.
Yeah.
Tony, are there any near you?
No, I can't think of any. There used to be Hollywood Video and Blockbuster, but not anymore. I don't even know if they even still have them. I mean, I'm sure not around me, that's for sure.
Well, both those companies are gone now.
Yeah.
And another big one was West Coast Video. There was Hollywood Video, Blockbuster, West
There was
Coast
also
Video.
GameFly. Remember GameFly?
I do remember GameFly. GameFly, they were kind of like back when Netflix primarily just sent DVDs to people's houses. I remember you could get games from GameFly the same way. I remember them.
Mm-hmm.
Did you use
so gassy today?
Did you use GameFly?
Nope, never.
Yeah, I never got
I think
anything
this
from
is my
GameFly.
first time hearing about GameFly.
Yeah,
It was
I
a
remember.
rental service like Netflix.
Yeah,
I have a question for you guys.
What's up?
Was GameFly like on the fly?
I never. I just remember the commercial where like they're in they're in this game store with these crappy games like Let's Count Sand, Let's Not, Game Farmer Extreme, Let's Wait in Line, Let's. This is all you guys have? Where are all the good games? You guys got Zip, Nada. We have Nada 3. But GameFly.com, you can stay home and rent games from the latest PlayStation 2 and Xbox titles and stuff like that.
I think my joke went over your head, TT.
It did, I guess.
I was trying to talk like the old cool kids, you know? Like Superfly and Awesome and Woo-Bay or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But E.T., that's pretty funny that you remember the commercial that well.
I used to watch G4 back in the day when G4 was good. In fact, yeah, we should make
back when Tommy Tellerico was on G4.
Yeah, we should definitely make a podcast on that. That'd be something to talk about.
We could talk about G4, Tommy Tellerico, and the Amigo.
Yeah.
Which we didn't really touch on today.
I can top that. I can top your guys' idea.
Sure.
Video games that have animes/cartoon tie-ins.
Like...
As well as other programs.
God Hack was my favorite.
God Hack.
Children's Game
Sonic.
Neptune was a good... Children's Game Neptune, the Hyperactive Princess anime, that was the game that got me into anime.
Even Atelier, Eska and Logi has an anime.
I saw it, didn't care for that much.
Akaba's Trip. Well, the anime came after.
Blue Reflection is another one too.
Yeah, Blue Reflection, yeah.
Even Mario had a cartoon at one point.
I know, Super Mario Bros. Super Show, Super Mario World, the original Super Mario Bros. 3, and
Sonic.
Zelda.
Super Mario, swing your arms from side to side.
Yeah, and also there was the Super Sonic the Hedgehog with Sonic voiced by Jaleel White and Sonic X. And of course,
now we have the live action Sonic, and there's going to be a live action Sonic 2.
Oh boy, that sounds so exciting.
Yep, it's gonna be number 2.
The first live action Sonic movie was actually really good.
I'm not big into modern.
So I actually have some hope.
It was entertaining.
I actually have hope for the sequel.
Me too. Well, all right. I think we burnt all of our time. Oh wow.
Yeah, we did.
Where does the time fly?
I know exactly. It's crazy, but like, yeah,
it's flying high with TT's Gamefly.
It definitely is, and
fly high. Well, he got it this time, Sadet. He got it this time.
Yep. And that's pretty much all I gotta say for this episode
I had to explain it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, TT. You gotta get on top of these jokes.
I know. And that's pretty much all I gotta say for this episode of TTBurger Burgers First Game Talk with a Shake. Episode 14 will be up. Maybe it'll be live. Depending if I have problems, it'll be live. We'll be recorded like this time. But we'll start doing these live when I get that issue figured out. But until then, the reviews will continue. It's Flying Game Month, so be on the lookout for more flying games coming up. Flying game reviews on my channel. Airplanes, helicopters, jets, and all that stuff, and spaceships, whatever flies. We're gonna do reviews on that. But all we gotta say here, this is Tony, TTBurger.
I have one thing to say.
What's up, Sadet?
Companies and studios should stop retiring the same old properties and think of something original for once.
True, yeah, that's very true.
That is a very good message.
That's true.
I hope they take you at your word.
Definitely.
And I hope people know what I was referencing.
Yep, I think so, but that's pretty much all we gotta say.
So if you don't know what she was talking about, TT, you got a whole week to think about it, buddy.
I know, yeah. That's pretty much.
Now I'll just send him the thing that I was referencing.
Okay. And
Cool.
that's
All right, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Next, the reviews will continue. There's more flying games coming up for Flying Game Month, so be on the lookout for that. The next episode of TTBurger First Game Talk will be up soon, so be on the lookout for that. But all I gotta say is this is me, Tony, and Sadet The Hyperactive Princess and Grim Monolith. Peace out, and have a great day, everybody.
Happy gaming!
See you next time. Bye.